Hey everybody, I am here with Sean Tracy. We are here prepping for the Next Great Starship competition, and Sean is a CryEngine Evangelist.
That's right on.
Would you like to explain what a CryEngine Evangelist is?
Sure. I'm always talking about how great the CryEngine is, how much I really like using it, how long I've been using it, what you can do with it, to the developers, trying to get them actually to use the engine for their games.
Okay, so unlike our artists, Mark Skelton, Chris Smith, Chris Olivier, who are kind of like, well, I used to draw as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not like, oh yeah, I'm using the CryEngine.
Right,
I mean, how do you get to where you're at now?
What takes me there? By the time I was about 20, I was in the military. I was actually in the Army. And then I made a transfer over to the Navy, and during that time I got a little bit sick, so I went on some sick leave. And during the time I was on sick leave, I was so bored. And throughout the course of my life, I've always been a gamer. I've always known I loved games. I didn't know I liked to make them. So actually, at the time, my brother was always working with Neverwinter Nights tool sets and these little editors. So I started doing things with him. So we started building up mods on Battlefield, mods on Neverwinter Nights, and things like this. And I found I was really, really enjoying that. And actually, it felt more like my job than my job felt. Teaching myself throughout that whole process was one of the best things about it, I think, because you're solving problems, you're trying to accomplish different things in whatever technology that you're working in. So I found that was a huge passion of mine, and I was up until 3 in the morning, doing things that most people would call work. So in the end, we ended up doing a pretty well-known mod, MechWarrior Living Legends, on the CryEngine, and the business development manager for Crytek at the time got in touch with us, actually got in touch with me from our website that we were running, and said, hey, did you want to come out to Germany, take a look at things that are going on out here? And I had honestly never really considered working in the game development industry for somebody particularly. I was always just doing it as a hobby for fun. After going out to Germany and actually seeing a studio itself, taking a look around at the people working there, I'm like, this is it. This is what I've got to be doing.
So I hear that the CryEngine is exceedingly difficult.
Right.
So the problem solving is not so simple.
Not so simple, definitely. And the more experience you get with it, the harder the problems become. That's the thing. And it gets down to a very deep level that you do need some level of specialists to help you out with things. And that's definitely where my job has sort of come up, is that I'm a generalist across all the systems. I do rely on a big support team of specialists of our R&D team back in Frankfurt to help us out on these things. But generally I can pretty much solve most of the problems that any of the licensees can bring up to us. So I think it's going pretty good.
That's cool. Yeah. And so in the time in Germany, what did you give us a kind of like evolution?
Oh, sure.
For the games that you did and what features
and what we worked on.
Yeah,
sure. So when I got to Frankfurt, they had just finished Crisis 1. So they were doing not DLCs for Crisis 1, but an expansion pack called Crisis Warhead and Crisis Wars. So I started. I was actually directly on the engine licensing team, but the engine licensing team was literally 4 of us. There was very, very few of us. So for me, I was just a really general designer. So I would do flow graph work, which is like visual scripting. I would do just bug fixing anytime a certain bug came up, and not everybody knew how to fix it. It would come down to me, and then I'd have to try to figure it out. So basically I was the guy that was trying to learn the things that nobody else wanted to learn, was the kind of the deal. And it turned me into a really, really broad generalist. So as time went on, I got to a more senior role where I invented the title, let's say, within Crytek, Field Applications Engineer, and that's, again, similar to Evangelist. NVIDIA has these, Microsoft has these, and these are the guys that go out to the developers and are showing them how to use the technology in the best way they can.
So Chris Smith was saying to me that the texturing and modeling part should be the longest part of the competition.
Yeah?
Giving concept art 2 days to do their work, maybe.
Oh, wow.
No,
wow, that's a tight concept time, yeah?
No, I'm joking. But the in-game part is actually a lot more difficult than it sounds, and things can come up at the last minute. Teams are trying to get it in, and then stuff goes wrong. It's
an ancient argument, is whether you spend more time with the asset outside the engine than you do within the engine. And usually the answer I try to give to that sort of line of thinking is, you can spend all the time you want sort of outside the engine, but that's not where the player is going to see it. And I mean, I'm not going to say that he's wrong. It's not wrong. But it needs to get to engine as soon as possible, because then all that work that you do outside of it, so with Photoshop, 3ds, you know, texturing and modeling, as we said, you can see the results of that immediately. So you keep making those changes that you're going to make, but start iterating on the final version of that asset. Don't iterate outside of the engine, because you don't know what's going to not work when you take it over into the engine. Now, whether that's we take the most time during the competition doing that, I would say absolutely, sure. But let's get into engine really fast first, you know.
Spoken like a true evangelist.
That's right, exactly.
I see some really natural
great
conflict coming out.
Yeah, it should be cool.
Between the judges.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have over 100 teams.
Wow.
Who are submitting,
yeah.
And we're going to pick 16
awesome.
For the finals, and obviously you're going to be one of the judges for the final stage of it. Yeah. And so what do you think? We've got bets on that Chris Olivier is going to be the softy judge.
The softy judge?
Yeah, the
really?
Softy judge. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know something about Chris that we're missing?
No, not at all. Well, I know his sense of humor, which is anything but soft, I would say. But
right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Where do you think you are on the spectrum?
I think I'll be a realist judge, but I'll try to. I have a soft spot for modders. That's the thing. I really do. I have a really soft spot. So if there's somebody that I can smell the passion on, do you know?
I know.
Those are the ones that I'm gonna really be vying for. Of course, the work matters. The work really matters, but what also matters is the attitude and the real passion behind there. And if that's not there, then I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna see it because I've worked with a lot of developers. Some are jaded, some are brand new, some are modders, and modders are the most passionate people out there that turn their hobby into a job.
Well, everybody, Sean Tracy.